Welcome to my presentation. My name is Conor Cahalan. I work in the Department of Geography at Youth University. I'm part of the 5S Space Surveyors and Students, STEM and the Sustainable Development Goals project. And I'm going to talk to you a bit today about Satellite Skills, a self-directed student learning app using augmented reality and ArcGIS online. We were Sfidiscover program. SFI are Science Foundation Ireland. They're the largest research funding body in Ireland, and the Discover program is pretty much designed to get people interested in STEM, attract people who weren't normally involved in it. And the Sfidiscover Award runs every year, and the 2019 awards particularly encouraged applications with a space focus, and they were linked with the European Space Education Resource Office and the Irish branch of that, which is ESERO Ireland. Now, my interest, I'm a remote sensing lecturer in Maynooth University. I teach undergraduate and postgraduate. I'm not an astronomer. I'm interested in remote sensing, Earth observation, and primarily the Copernicus program. So I am keen to see people using this new form of open data for as many things as possible. And I'm really interested to see, can I introduce it to second level students? So there was a number of partners on the application. We had an award. We stuck in the Department of Geography. That was me. The Department of Education, who train many of the teachers who go out to second level teaching. So they gave us invaluable teaching feedback. TU Dublin, the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment. Esri Ireland, which was originally Aileen Crosdale, and Rachel Abernathy has also joined the team. Ordnance Survey Ireland, which is the National Mapping Agency. And the Society of Chartered Surveyors, which is one of the biggest professional bodies in Ireland. It's the one that has all the geomatics professionals in it. We stuck in an application. What were we funded for? Well, we were funded for STEM outreach using Copernicus and focused on the Sustainable Development Goals. Work Package 1, I'm not going to talk to you too much about today. That was Jack. That's the traditional GeoMentor approach, using our big volunteer group that we have in the Chartered Surveyors and partnering them with schools to train the trainers. So we go out to the schools and we give sessions or give classes for them. And we also give teacher training events. What I'm talking to you a little bit about today is the second one, Work Package 2, which is the app. That's much more on the self-learning side, where instead of the learning trickling down to the student is in charge of their own learning as citizen scientists using their phones and augmented reality. And that's being led by Jonathan Fall, who you can see in the corner. The focus, again, is the Sustainable Development Goals. We all have them in mind, the United Nations goals for a fairer, better future. Everyone's familiar with them, but many less people are familiar with the Global Geospatial Information Management and the fundamental geospatial data themes that the UN have also been involved in identifying. So these are the fundamental geospatial data sets that are the building blocks that people use to derive anything else that they need. So all the other data sets that we need to tackle the SDGs, these are what we use. And as a remote sensor, working with Copernicus and different satellite data sets and drones and aircraft and lasers, etc., I know how much this technology has a role to play in developing these data sets. So whether it's land parcels or land cover, elevation and depth, geology, water, building, 3D models, you name it, this is all here, okay? So Work Package 2 is this bottom-up approach. And again, this is Jonathan leading this. So we saw the success that Pokemon Go had when it came to, the spatial data involved in that, location, images, you name it. So we wanted to see, could we use augmented reality as a learning tool? We focused on the junior cycle, which is 13 to 16-year-olds. And in Ireland, for a number of different subjects, science and geography for one, a student must identify and pick a project of their own choosing. So two of those for the geography, they do this in second year where they're about 14 or 15, is geography in the news, and the science equivalent is science in society. So both of these have a clear link back to the Sustainable Development Goals. The app that we're trying to develop is this one-stop shop for the students. So all they need to do is come up with their own idea. But we then take care of all the other stuff. So the nature of science, what's your hypothesis? Then you design your investigation. You select the data that you need. You then analyze the data. And finally, you have to communicate your findings back to the people. So in this case, it's the students who are being graded. And that approach and that whole timeline very much mirrors the European Space Agency Climate Change Detectives Programme. So it has added appeal. Any student who does a good job for this could also enter into that European competition. And it's a very prestigious award. So what have we done? Well, our initial development is we have come up with this game approach where we have 14 tasks, and each of those tasks is related to one of the UN GGIM themes, whether it's soil or water or elevation, etc., and a bit of satellite data. So it's all augmented reality. In the right-hand side, you can see a little bit of the app playing out. This is the satellite radar one using Sentinel-1 data. So in this, we're hoping to teach the students a little bit about how satellites can see through clouds, generate mapping data sets, and then in an augmented reality game environment, the student will have to unlock or earn this data set by taking your 3D surface, looking at the flooding polygons that come back from the Copernicus emergency mapping system, which again comes from Sentinel-1. And then the game approach is they have to pick out all these different flooded buildings and say whether they're flooded or whether they're not. And then the student earns the buildings and settlements data sets back in their ArcGIS Online account that they can use for their project, right? That's the game element. And in doing this, they learn a little bit about Copernicus in doing so, because there is those guides and external resources that I mentioned. The student collects everything that they need for their project, and then they can create their own story map for the submission. At the minute, on development side, we're piloting it on Android. We've also started co-developing on iOS, so we're going to have it available for both of those. But it's very much a co-creation approach as well. We're not just doing this in our ivory tower. We're working with students and teachers around the country. So we got great help in terms of the computer science class and transition year. Transition year is about 15, 16-year-olds as they move from junior cycle to senior cycle in Ireland. And we also have the Maynooth University and the TU Dublin undergrad and postgraduate students giving us feedback there as well. We have great teaching feedback as well. So we have not only the 5S core team, but also the Bachelor of Science in Education and the postgraduate masters. The games we have at the moment, there's about 4 of them. On the right-hand side, you can see this is the game that teaches the students a little bit about satellites. So the student, first of all, learns a little bit about the orbits. Then they become the satellite and they see how they build up a picture of the Earth. Again, this augmented reality. After a certain few stages, then they're shown a biomass layer, and their interactive element is they have to try and interpret the color legend and the color ramp and see what areas have the highest biomass. They mark that up, and then when they successfully finish that, they are given the land cover and the land use layer. And that's another one of the games. So the testing at the moment is kind of to ensure quality and functionality, and we're hoping to pilot this in schools in September 2021 with a big promotion over the summer. And the last stage then is we have to present it. So bringing us back to the start, this is a typical submission from a student for junior cycle. You know, Word document, a few pictures off the internet. Is there a better way? Of course there is. And that's where the ArcGIS for Schools program comes in. Ireland, like most of the rest of the world, has, you know, free access in schools to ArcGIS Online platform and all the different data sets. The student has the data sets that they've unlocked back in their ArcGIS Online account, and then can they present it differently? They use a story map, and they present their story map to their teacher as part of their submission. So that's it. If you liked what you saw, please do contact me. My name is Conor Cahalan at mu.ie or 5ssurveyors@mu.ie. Thanks. Bye.